What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another review video. Big shout out goes out to Benifore, which is a sister company to Luckeep, for reaching out to me and asking me to review one of their electric bikes. This is the C23 model, and just for size comparison, I'll show you what I look like on this bike. I am 5'8", I weigh 160 pounds. But the cool thing about this bike is it's adjustable, so the handlebars can go up and down as well as the seat, so it can adjust itself to different rider heights. As far as the front suspension, it is a very generic fork, but it is there. Of course, we're going to test all of that stuff. In this review, I'm going to go over everything there is to know about this electric bike. I'm going to talk about the specs. I'll do a speed test, a brake test. I'm going to ride around and talk about the riding experience, and as an added bonus, we're going to take it on a little mini off-road adventure, so make sure to stick around. There will be chapters down below, so feel free to skip around to whatever part is of interest to you. But first, let's get started with the specs. So what we got here is the Benifore C23 folding electric bike. It features a 500 watt, 750 watt peak hub motor in the rear, coupled with a 48 volts, 15 amp hour battery. Benifore claims that this should give you a range of up to 65 miles depending on riding mode and riding conditions, of course. We have 20-inch by 3-inch all-terrain tires, coupled with mechanical brakes with 180mm rotors. That is huge. This bike also has a front suspension fork for a smooth, comfortable ride, a Shimano 7-speed with the Shimano derailleur, an adjustable handlebar as well as a folding handlebar stem, an adjustable seat, a back seat with a backrest, folding rear passenger pegs, and a folding frame design for easy transportation and storage. In the front of the bike we have a headlight that's decently bright, and in the rear we have a taillight with an active brake light as well as turn signals. That is always good. The total weight of this bike is 65 pounds with the max load capacity of 265 pounds. And up on the handlebars we have our rear brake, our half twist throttle, and our Shimano gear changer. And over on the left side we have our color display with the on-off switch and mode selectors, our front brake, a headlight switch, turn signals, and a horn. And that is pretty much it for the specs. Now, as far as the price, this current bike is going for $599 on Amazon, but there might be a shipping fee. But on top of that, I can get you guys a 5% discount, and that discount will be in the description along with a link if you're interested in this bike. Now, before I continue, just a few things that stand out to me. One of them being how customizable, quote unquote, this bike is as far as height and matching the rider. So you got the seat, which is adjustable, the handlebar is adjustable, and the whole folding mechanism of this thing, absolutely great as far as storing it or transporting it. That is very nice. The second thing, which is one of the highlights of this electric bike, is the back seat and the back rest, as well as the passenger folding pegs. That is really, really nice, especially for those who have young children and they want to take them out for a ride. That is pretty cool. Alright, now before I do the speed test, I do want to show you the starting procedure of this bike. And it starts by turning the battery on. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a switch over here. That switch has to be turned on for the bike to be turned on. Now this bike does come with 2 NFC cards. Hopefully you see those as well. And once the battery is on, we have a power button over here. We hit that for a couple seconds and it's going to ask for the NFC card. Put the NFC card to the screen and the bike will turn on. Now I hope you guys can see the screen well because it is very bright out and sometimes the screen flickers on video, so hopefully you guys can see that well. But this bike has 5 pedal assist modes. 0 means no throttle, it acts like a regular bicycle. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 5 being the fastest mode. Now the throttle on this bike does not correlate to the pedal assist modes. That is only for the pedals. So if you're in pedal assist mode 1 and you're hitting the throttle, you're gonna get the full speed of the bike. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's check our top speed. I'm at pedal assist mode 5. I got my GPS app open, speed reset, put that in my pocket, and let's see what this bike can do. I'll be using throttle only. And supposedly this bike's supposed to hit 28 miles an hour, up to 28 miles an hour. We'll see what that means. As far as takeoff, it is pretty nice. It doesn't yank you back, but it goes right away, especially for the size of the motor, where it's 500 watts, 750 watt peak. I would expect less power, but it has more power than I expected. But anyways, I don't know if you guys can see the screen, but the screen is showing 31 miles an hour. I'm just gonna keep on going till the end of the road. Ooh, it's getting a little bit windy here. Hopefully that does not affect our top speed. But I'll keep on going till the end of this road because my GPS app is laggy and it does take a little bit of time to catch up. Bike was showing 32 for a second. Oh yeah. All right, let's stop right here. Felt like we're kind of regaining speed. Let's see what we got here. Okay, beautiful. Hopefully you guys can see that well. My phone GPS is showing 28.3. That is excellent. I love when this happens, where a brand advertises a certain top speed and you're actually getting the top speed. Now, yes, the display was a bit off by about 4 miles per hour, but we're not gonna hold it against the bike. At least we got the GPS speed that was advertised. And that was our speed test. I'm very happy with that, by the way. Now let's do our brake test. Now before we do our brake test, a couple things. One, these are mechanical brakes and they can be adjusted. The second thing is they're brand new. They'll only get better with time. But anyways, let's make our way to 20 miles an hour. I'll be stopping at this pole right now. 1, 2, stop. Okay, let's check it out. Wow, actually pretty good. So from this post slash pole over here to where I'm at, we're looking at about 6 to 7 feet or so. Stopping distance from 20 miles an hour. Again, these brakes will only get better and better with time as they bed themselves in. But anyways, that was our brake test. Alright, now let's talk about the brand and the bike. The brand Benifore is actually a sister company of Luckeep. Now, Luckeep is a very well-known brand in the e-bike world, and I've worked with them in the past. As I mentioned, they make some very high-quality stuff. So Benifore is just a sister company of Luckeep. So as far as I'm concerned, they have the credibility of Luckeep, which is a good thing. Now let's talk about the bike itself and the riding experience. Benifore sells this bike as a commuter, so don't expect crazy off-road performances or anything like that. As far as speed, they definitely got that covered, as you saw in our speed test. So 28 miles an hour, it feels really fast on a bike like this. I always say in my reviews, as soon as you hit 25 miles an hour or faster, it actually feels like you're moving on these things. So 28 is very nice. Now keep in mind, of course, you're not going to get the advertised range if you're going 28 miles an hour the whole time. So that's just something to consider, but you will get some decent range out of this battery. As far as the build itself, it feels very, very solid. Geometry feels very solid. Let's see how it does on this bump. Oh yeah, no issues. And it's pretty sturdy as well, like straight as an arrow, even at low speeds. That is good. You don't want a bike that wobbles all over the place as soon as you let go of the handlebars. Now the response of the pedal assist, let's see, I'm starting from this position. So 1 revolution, 2 revolutions, 2.5 revolutions for the motor to kick in. Now it could be adjusted. So in the manual, it actually shows you where to go in the settings, and you can adjust the sensitivity of the pedal assist and everything, the throttle. It's pretty nice and pretty easy to follow the directions to change all of those settings. It also has cruise control, which you can adjust, turn on and off, things like that. So that is pretty nice. Whoa, that guy is running across. Now they say this is a commuter, and to me it is perfect for riding around the neighborhood, maybe a last mile commute, short commuting, going to the store to get some snacks. See how it does over this bump. No way, that was actually pretty decent. Let's try one more time over here. We got some air on that. That is pretty fun. Yeah, the suspension is okay, even though it is a generic fork. It is better than not having anything. Now it is a hardtail, which means no suspension in the rear, but the seat itself has some springs, like a kind of like its own suspension, which makes your back feel a little bit better. But back to what I was saying, to me this is like a commuter type bike to take to places like this. It's not an off-roader per se, but let's test its abilities on a place like this where it's a pretty chill park. It is off-road, but it's fairly flat and smooth, and honestly to me it's perfect for that. This is like the most extreme type of terrain I would take this bike on, and so far these 3-inch wide tires are actually decent on this type of terrain. They're not slipping all over the place. But you know what, let's kind of run this bike through a little bit more of heavier duty terrain, let's call it that. Now at this point I'm going to be asking the bike to do way more than it's designed to do, and it's not advertised for this. We are no longer on smooth terrain, and there's an uphill hill climb coming up. It may not seem like it on camera, but oh wow, yeah, that climb may not seem like much on camera, but it did it with no issues. Now it is a bumpy type of ride, because again, it's not the craziest suspension in the world. You may hear it on my voice shaking all over the place, but at the same time, like I said, I'm asking this bike to do way more than it's designed to do. It's not really advertised for this type of terrain. Again, I would not take it on a rougher terrain than where I'm at right now, but just knowing that it is able to handle it is very good. Alright, well that went better than I thought. And I must mention it again, guys, it's not really meant for that. This is a commuter, so bike path, bike lane, that is where this thing shines. And I just asked it to do way more than it's designed to do, and it handled it, which is always a good thing. Alright, now one thing I do want to show you is the power of this thing. So as I mentioned, it's a 750 watt peak motor, but it is a feisty little motor for sure. Alright, well this was a pretty fun experience. Now let's do things I like, things I don't like. Is this thing good value for money or not? And we'll give it a score. Let's start with things I like. I really like the overall design of this bike, and as I mentioned in the intro, I like the customization of this bike, meaning like changing the seat height, the bars height, folding it, the passenger foot pegs I like. And another thing that I did not show you is these pegs actually fold as well, for just when you're transporting it and just click into place when you're done. So I like that. I like the speed of this thing, being able to hit the advertised speed. That is very, very good. You might think it's a funny thing to like, but a lot of these brands advertise a certain top speed and you're not really getting that top speed when you GPS verify it. So being able to GPS verify the top speed, that is really nice. Another thing I really like is that back seat with the backrest. That is really nice, especially for those who have kids, as I mentioned earlier, or a friend that wants to join the ride. Pretty nice. Now, things I don't like, and there are two, and they're not really things I don't like. It's more of like I wish it had. One of them being the brakes. Now, the brakes worked absolutely amazing, but I think that at this point, all of these bikes should come with hydraulic brakes. If it had hydraulic brakes, it'd be amazing. The second thing, again, it's not that I don't like, it's more that I wish it had, is rear suspension. Now, it is a style of a bike. It is a hardtail, so it's not meant to have it. But if it had rear suspension too, this bike would have been so nice. Now, what score am I giving this bike? Considering my experience with it and the price, I'm going to have to give this bike an 8 out of 10 overall, which is a really good score. Now, is this thing good value for money or not? We said earlier, $5.99 plus a shipping fee. Now, the shipping fee sometimes is $100, sometimes it's $80, so it kind of fluctuates. So we're looking at about $680 plus a 5% discount that I can give you guys. I think that for everything you're getting here, that is a really good value for money, and I would recommend this bike, especially for those who want that extra seat. Now, I'm pretty sure I was able to go over everything there is to know about this bike, but in case I missed anything, please leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. If you want to see more of these reviews, and there are plenty more coming, definitely hit that subscribe button. But that is pretty much it for me, guys. My name is Tom. This has been the Benifore C23 electric bike. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.